Hi Rohit, how are you?
Hey Apoorvi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. How do you feel to be on the other side of this interview, this platform that you had started where you record interviews of other civil servants? But I have come to your rescue because no one was recording your interview. So how do you feel?
I feel great. You know, taking an appointment from you was a task in itself. The last time I had to interview you,
Of
you
course.
rescheduled two times. But uh, in this particular case, I think it's easily been over 10 months. Anyways, here we are, and I feel truly privileged.
Oh, you have still stolen that introduction away from me. You are so used to it. Okay, now let's start with your introduction, which I'm sure everyone knows, but still, let's start with your introduction.
So, my name is Dr. Rohit Singh Malan. I come from a small village in Aligarh district of India. I did my medicine from University of Delhi. Immediately after, I sat for civil services, and there how I belong to the 2015 batch of civil services, in which I was allotted the Indian Defense Estates Department, in which I'm a Group A officer. Currently, I'm on my fourth assignment as the Defense Estate Officer of Pathankot Circle.
So, since you are a doctor, was civil services always on the cards, or I mean, how did that happen for you?
Uh, the earliest memory I have of coming across a platform called civil services was probably in the first year of my college, when I got to know that
Okay.
they are high influence jobs, so to say, in the government of India, and there's a process which is quite comprehensive and lengthy, extending for about 10 odd months from the first stage to the last. So that's how I got to know about it on a very superficial level towards the end of my medicine program in University of Delhi. I got to know more about it. I got interested. I checked out the eligibility, found out I was eligible, and that's how I started preparing immediately after completing my MBBS.
It wasn't it like not really difficult, but so much hard work you put in the medicine. Medical study, medicine is not easy. So immediately after 5 years of struggle, wasn't. How was that decision? Was that an easy decision because civil service is not a piece of cake? I mean, so much struggle and completely different line of career. So, how did you go about it?
Well, the idea was to decide what to do next and where to go, uh, and I had to make a choice between appearing for my MD and MS entrance examinations on one hand, or trying for civil services on the other. There were a couple of factors because of which I was inclined to prepare for civil services. Primarily, I'd say it was because I figured it would be a pretty good thing to venture into a space in which you function at a comparatively larger scale compared to treating patients over the table, and being part of a machinery, and contributing to processes on the national or at least regional levels, so that the kind of impact I
Hmm.
could potentially bring would
Hmm.
increase. So that was the idea. Was it difficult? Definitely, yes. I had to take my family into confidence. I discussed
Hmm.
it with them. Thankfully, they were very supportive. And thereafter, I just started taking help and cues from my seniors in medical college who happened to crack civil services that particular year and the year
Hmm.
before.
Hmm.
And one thing led to another, and I wrote my exam in 2014. Yeah.
So you got selected in your first attempt.
No, that was my second. I did
So
write my
how was
exam in 2013 as well. So 2013 was
okay?
the time when I completed my medicine. I completed in early
Okay.
2013, and I immediately started preparing. It in a matter of 4 months, I gave my prelims.
Right.
Despite putting in requisite amount of efforts, as far as I could go, I could not clear my mains, but things turned for the
Okay.
better during my second attempt.
Okay. So, once you entered into this preparation for civil services, there's so many other questions that we are faced with, like to join which coaching, not to join coaching, which coaching, then what optional, especially if you are coming from a like medicine background, and medicine is also an optional subject. And so what were your thoughts on that? Like, how did you decide on those things?
I'm just probably coded in a way that class more than classroom teaching, it's me and my own efforts that bear better results. So I did join
Mm,
a classroom program which was not very extensive or comprehensive, and frankly, I
mm,
would not recommend it, that particular program, to aspirants as well. But then it
okay.
definitely helped me maybe get into a particular momentum, but thereafter it was only the sittings that I could put in with the books and solving papers. But having said that, something that really made a difference in my candidacy during my second attempt would be the fact that I used to write a lot of tests. I enrolled in test series at three places, if I recollect correctly, and I would be giving tests maybe every month. I was writing approximately 8 to 9 tests, so that required a lot
Okay.
of practice, and it helped me uh, inculcate a lot of mental endurance, because mains is like really tough, and you are expected to
Hmm.
write 6 hours
Absolutely.
in 24 hours, one day after
Hmm.
another. So that is something that really helped.
And the about the optional,
I appeared
like
from
how to
medical
decide which
science.
optional.
Right. So I appeared
Okay.
from medical science. It's a technical subject, and quite frankly, I scored below average in my optional. And if I could do it all over again, I would probably go for subjects like anthro,
Okay.
or maybe
Hmm.
pub ad or sociology, because of many reasons. They're not technical subjects. They're easy to revise. They're easy to finish your course. Medical science is, yes, it has conceptual parts as well, but overall it's
It's
the
pretty
the sh-
vast, I think.
yeah, this the mere scale of the subject is so huge that you just cannot expect to
Hmm.
revise it extensively
Right.
at all. You just
Right.
have to be confident of you knowing the stuff and the theory too, and it needs to be, you need to recapitulate it while writing the exam. So if I had to do it all over again, probably I'll take anthro.
Okay. Okay. Great. So now you got selected and then you got Defense State Services. Had you heard about the services beforehand, or was it like something new for you? Like, were you aware of that this is something, or what was your first reaction when you got allotted the service?
Well, I definitely did not know about the department per se, but my dad, being in the armed forces, he had dealt extensively with officers and people from Defense Estates Department. So he gave me a very brief overview. Overall, the response and the feedback was pretty favorable and impressive. No sooner we joined training, and that is when we actually came face to face with the framework within
Hmm.
which we work and everything. And yeah, I mean, it's been a good journey ever since.
Okay, so where is the training academy for defense estates? Delhi.
Yes, it's in New Delhi, and it goes by the name of National Institute of Defense Estates Management.
Okay, okay. And what is the duration of the training?
In our case, it was for the first phase was for 4 months, after which we were given postings while on probation. And I
Oh,
did
okay.
my end of probation training at the fag end of the second year into service. Yeah.
Okay, so how was your training experience? I mean, how
Training
was it?
was pretty cool. It was pretty chill, and it was it was inclined towards knowing what the various laws of the parliament and the regulations, the codes, the regulation, the rules and all, which are formulated by the ministry, how to go about things. It was a major component was centered around the fact that your stakeholders and your so to say clients are both public on one hand and armed forces on the other,
Mm, right,
and the way you deal with both of them, they is very different. So yes, so dealing with
right.
those kind of situations was one major part of the training program.
Your training is completed, and what was your first posting after your training?
So my first assignment was as Assistant Director General in the headquarters itself, and it was a
Okay.
3-month-old assignment. I remember asking for that assignment due to some health-related issue in my family. So in 3 years, I was
Okay.
posted in the Cants and Court division, in which I was asked to work on VIP references and certain very specific assignments
Okay.
related to Swachh Bharat mission. So that's how my 3 months went. And immediately after, I was given my first
Oh.
field assignment as the Chief Executive Officer of Jhansi Cantonment. So that was a 2-year assignment in which
Okay.
I
So, what was
actually,
your batch size?
we were a total of 20 people.
Sorry. Okay. Okay. A small, close bunch of people. Yeah?
20 is supposed to be like a really huge number in our department. We have a total sanction strength of 190 people. Yes, so our entire cadre is
Because
probably smaller than your one batch in income tax.
yeah, because we had 150 batch
Right, so,
size.
right.
So okay, nice. So okay, now Jhansi, you were telling. So how was the experience in Jhansi? Have you
So,
ever earlier explored Jhansi, or was it the first time that you went once you were posted?
yes, so that was the first time I ever visited that part of the country. Jhansi is a relatively remote area in central India. And that was the first time, that was the first
Okay.
assignment in which I came face to face with what actually the department does. Uh, so, as the CEO, I was the member secretary of the cantonment board, which comprised of military officers, representative of the DM, and a bunch of elected local political leaders as well. And if I have to tell you about the charter, it ranged from education and healthcare services to um, taxation, non-tax revenue, going as far as creating a sewage treatment plant for the entire cantonment. So that's how it was. It was a very
Oh,
enriching experience.
interesting.
It was a very enriching experience.
Okay.
Uh, in a nutshell, if I have to explain it to somebody, I just say that because cantonment is a it does not the area which comprises of a cantonment, it does not belong to the state government. So the powers, the responsibilities of organizations like the DC's office, the development authority, or the municipal corporation, they are bestowed in the cantonment board. The only thing left, which was out of our jurisdiction, was probably law and order, in which we would approach the SSP if we needed to, and otherwise it was
Okay.
a very comprehensive, well-oiled machinery that we have.
Hmm. This sounds very interesting, very holistic kinds of hands-on experience, I guess. I mean, in all
Yes,
fields.
yes, definitely.
So, tell us something about the basic hierarchy of your services. Like, what are the different kind of functional profiles, and how does it, goes up the ladder? Like, you
Mhm.
started with assistant director, and then like, how does it go? I mean, what are the options? Like,
Right. So there are field assignments and there are non-field assignments in which you get posted to maybe the regional or zonal offices, which we call commands in our parlance. Then is the headquarters. So I started my career
okay,
from the headquarters, and in the field offices you get posted either as a chief executive officer of a particular cantonment, or as the defense estate officer of a defense estate circle. Uh, Currently, I'm
okay,
placed as the defense estate officer of Pathankot Circle, which has its jurisdiction in many districts of Punjab and Himachal. So these are the field
okay,
assignments. The nature of duties and responsibilities are widely different, and in a way mutually exclusive. In Defense Estates Office, it's more focused on estate management, looking at infrastructure projects of the armed forces, or maybe the state government,
okay.
rehabilitating people who were
Hmm.
displaced because of land acquisition uh, for the armed
Hmm.
forces, hiring buildings from which are requisitioned by the armed forces, and ultimately, I'd say
Right.
our, the bread and butter of DEO offices is defending the Union of India in the court of law in cases which are related to estate or
Right.
land disputes. So this happens till junior administrative grade, and once you get past that, once you attain senior administrative grade, people in my department get posted either as directors in various in one of the six commands which are there, or
Okay.
additional director general in the headquarters in Delhi. And
Okay.
yeah, thereafter you from director you become a principal director, and from ADG you become a senior additional DG or DG.
So what is the like your tenure? I mean, for one posting, is it like fixed, or how are your tenures and transfers? How are they regulated? Like, what is the?
The department tries to give an average tenure of 2 to 3 years easily, but because of administrative reasons, it is not very
Okay.
uncommon to see officers getting posted out before they complete the average tenure, so to say.
Huh.
But
Okay.
not more than three
Okay.
years in
So
India.
average tenure is
2 to 3 years.
okay. Well, after 3 years, you have to change the zone.
3 years is the upper limit. 3.5 at the max.
Okay. And you can be posted anywhere, like in the cantonment area, wherever there are.
Yes, so we have the presence of our offices in about 19 states of India,
Okay.
and union territories like Port Blair and Chandigarh, etc. So, one of these places, anywhere. I mean, it's not
Okay.
limited by the virtue of you being a North Indian or coming from a particular state.
Okay. That it doesn't work that way.
No.
I mean, of course, with the central government and all.
Yes.
So 5 years down the line, how do you feel? Was this something you were looking for once you decided to change your path from medicine? Or what is your experience fulfilling, or are you still exploring that what else you want to do? Where do you stand today about professional or job satisfaction terms?
So, first of all, I'd like to very categorically state that the government of India has treated me very well in the last 5 years. I've had a very fulfilling experience. The kind of exposure I've had compared to my colleagues and peers from the medicine side of the world, it's varied, and it's at a larger scale. And in all fairness, they have, I mean, other things to be proud of and other experiences which they have in their particular respective, medical fields. But overall, I feel that, having traveled the length and breadth of the country in the last 5 years for my assignments, dealing with a large corpus of government of India's budgets and money, executing projects related to healthcare, um, vocational training, education services, creating a sewage treatment plant. So all of these things were very eye-opening, and job satisfaction has a lot to do with deriving output and feeling satiated about it.
Hmm.
So the one
Right.
very good thing in my department that I tell people is that you get very tangible results when you
Hmm.
get hooked onto something. It may be a project in your territorial jurisdiction. The if you if things work out for you, if you're putting in the requisite amount of efforts, you tend to get and see results in a, I'd say, in a short to medium span of time, and that is something which makes this
Okay.
department
Hmm.
reasonably fulfilling. Yes.
It keeps you motivated to see the results. I mean, if you see the output, then it gives you an
Yes.
incentive to work harder towards it.
Yes. You have a machinery
Hmm.
at your end for your support, and uh, I'd say in my department, people enjoy a lot of autonomy when it comes to executing
Hmm.
projects, and because of that, you're able to conceptualize in a quite free manner, you
Right.
have at your disposal machinery to channelize the financial and the human resources towards a particular end, and that's how, by
Mm.
the if you start at the starting of your tenure, by the time your tenure is getting completed, you will, in all fairness and in all probability, be able to see your results bearing fruit in front of your eyes, and that's a quite fulfilling experience.
That's true. I agree. So this would be a major perk of your service. But apart from that, what do you think will be the perks that you'll count your service offers?
So uh, I think it would be fair to say that the department has a glamour quotient attached to it. I can
Right.
safely say that, being a Group A officer in the Indian Defence Estates Department, I get I'm able to get the best of both the military and the civil services.
Right.
So you can imagine, like, what should I say, exploring the extracurricular things which are there in cantonments and military stations, ranging from horse
Right.
riding to playing golf, and
Hmm.
other, exclusive kind of sports and
Are
activities
you
which are
doing
there.
those things also?
Other than golf, yes, golf
Have
is
you
something
explored any
which,
of those things?
yeah, I started rifle shooting. I did scuba diving. I tried to start
Oh,
with golf as
nice.
well, but that did not materialize majorly because of the COVID and all. I really enjoy practicing badminton
Okay.
with
Okay. Okay.
army officers here. So that's there on the one end.
Right.
Then obviously you get
You must
the
be blessed, have the access of, yeah, you must have the access of very good infra of all those things. I mean, just
no
within your
questions
reach.
asked.
So that is a very good
Absolutely,
thing, I guess.
absolutely. It's, I mean, the
Yeah.
kind of access you have, and I think now that I'm married, I feel, my family also enjoys a lot. So
Hmm.
it's a common
True.
perception, and
True.
it is true that, the army areas are very well maintained, and everything, the
Hmm.
ambiance is really cool. Then you have all
Right.
kinds of extracurricular and self improvement activities which are going on a daily basis, and one should do that, I mean,
Hmm.
for self improvement and other factors. So this is on one end, and on the other, civil services is there. Wherever I go, I have the best of I have the access to the best of what is there at the civil services end. So that ways, my department is unique. I'm
Right.
blessed to have come to this particular uh, department. Apart from
Hmm.
that, from the perks point of view, because cantonments are, like, they date way back to,
Hmm.
they go back to the 18th century. So it has a lot of heritage attached to it. The chief executive
Hmm.
officers in cantonment boards, they have
True.
very good infrastructure and creature comforts at their disposal. You get a very nicely located and maintained bungalow. You have means of conveyance available to you.
Hmm.
You have a lot of manpower
Hmm.
to, for the daily functioning and other things. So that is definitely one more perk that I'd like to put on the list.
Perfect. This sounds like too many perks. We need to visit the cantonment area soon to enjoy
Yeah,
some of them,
you
I
should
guess.
actually.
Since we have none of it, so better we come. So what is your on an average working hours? What are your working hours on an average in a day?
Um,
I mean, how's
it is definitely it's an 8 hour thing on a daily basis, which is obviously very variable. Given the fact
hmm,
that India is in the process of recovery from its second COVID wave, the court of law was not functioning to at a very
quite some
high
time. Yeah.
efficiency, because of
Hmm.
which the number of cases being heard in and the courts at all levels, it
Right.
plummeted. The number of
Hmm.
cases, the number of hearings every
Hmm.
day has plummeted. So because of that, it's a little relaxed, but that's only comparative.
Okay.
I think the
Okay.
vacation is over. The second wave is on its way. Uh, so, I'm expecting the official uh, the engagement on a daily basis to increase from, as far as the court of law is concerned. Apart from that, because the territorial jurisdiction of this office spans, like this circle has a diameter of about 220, 230 kilometers. So because of
Right.
the restrictions on movement and lockdown getting uplifted, the stakeholders will start interacting more and coming up with
Hmm.
more projects, etc. So that in times to come, maybe in another 2 or 3 weeks, the
It'll increase.
workload will definitely increase. Yes,
But in general, the work-life balance is good. Like, I mean,
I cannot
generally you
complain.
get time to pursue your interests and hobbies.
I don't think it will be right on my part to complain on that front.
Okay. So on that note, please tell us something more about your interests and hobbies apart from this civil services.
Okay. So a very recent addition that I made into my life is learning foreign languages.
Okay.
I completed my course in German, and I think I reached up to A2 in German proficiency.
Oh,
I
that's
can
excellent.
I can I can comfortably read. I can speak to some extent, and fairly I can write as well. Uh, Last month I got my certificate in French as well for A1, and I'm currently pursuing A2. Uh, I'm not able to speak in French, to be very frank, but I can reasonably read and derive the meaning. And
Okay.
lastly, it's Spanish that I'm working on, in which I'd say I'm currently at B1.
My goodness. And what interested you to take up this? Like you always had an inclination towards it or some sudden interest?
Um, no, it wasn't anything sudden. It was just fascinating. It was just fascinating, I used to watch a lot of shows on Netflix, and a lot of shows had Spanish content in it. So
Did it start with Money Heist?
Money Heist was a catalyst, but it started with other shows like, related to drug cartels and everything. So they have a lot of Spanish in them.
Right.
Yeah, so
You
that
wanted
is,
to know the crux of what they are
yes.
saying.
So, when they say, I cannot even say those words, but,
Fair enough, a reason.
yeah. So that was what sparked my
And how
interest.
is your okay, and how is your magic coming along? From what I remember of our very initial meeting,
Hmm.
I was shown some magic tricks, and then I was wondering, he's a doctor, he's a magician, and now he's a civil servant also. He's gonna do what is wrong with this guy? And now, you've clearly added so many feathers to your cap, but how is that coming along?
I do it once in a while. So I think the last time I did it at a reasonable level, when I was trying to impress my wife shortly, when we were made to meet each other and everything. She came to see me, and I was like, "Would you like to see some magic?" So yeah, that was the last time I practiced it at
We can
some
say
scale.
that you were successful because she got impressed and you
Yeah,
got married.
she did not turn me down, and I guess that, I probably it had a lot to do with something, at least to do with the kind of
Something, I'm
card
sure.
tricks I had shown her. Yeah,
Perfect, perfect.
yeah.
So it was great talking to you, Rohit. Is there anything you want to add to conclude this interview?
Not really. I think in the end, if a future aspirant is an aspirant, or a future civil servant is seeing this video, probably I'd advise him or her to go for it. It's a really nice experience. I think even before I made the cut and became a Group A officer, I gained a lot in the entire
Hmm.
process. If I have
Right.
to probably count the top three things that changed me, this the entire process of writing civil services exam, it increased my risk taking ability, because ultimately it was a gamble. It
Hmm.
increased my analytical skills, because The exam requires you to analyze situations uh, and
Right.
devise a particular way forward.
Hmm.
And lastly, I feel no matter where I am, with whom I am, I can speak to the other person. It doesn't matter, from which field the other person who's in front of me comes from. Civil
Right.
services and preparing for civil services examination gave me that kind of an exposure to know at least something about just about everything.
Hmm.
So
Everything.
I
Right. I
yeah, that's something I'd like to share.
Perfect. So I hope this interview helps whosoever is watching, I'm sure. Thank you so much for your valuable time.
Thanks a lot, Apoorvi, and I don't think this interview will be complete before I could thank you enough for this opportunity, for the time you spared. You're in your office, and we had been
That is
trying
true.
to schedule this interview for a really long time, and finally it could happen. And it could not have happened definitely without you agreeing it to happen. So thank you so much for that as well.
My pleasure. It is for the benefit of the larger good, for the the knowledge and wisdom that you had to share. Could not afford to get that wasted. So I
Mhm.
had to make time for this, and I had to ensure that it reaches to the every that aspirant and person who is keen to join civil services.
Well, that means a lot to me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, guys.
Okay. See you, Rohit. Bye bye.
Bye.